Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Match of the Week Court Martial Podcast live stream. I am, as always, your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty, the man who will revolutionize, colonize, and re-energize the live streaming industry the way we know it. But today is not about me. It's about our Match of the Week. And I'm not going to redo the intro for the Match of the Week because I'm waiting until we're back to doing it on a normal basis when we are done with the Ultimate Fantasy Draft and the booking of the two shows. Of course, this coming Friday is Skylar's version, so we get the National Wrestling League's major show to kick off their promotion, and then, of course, next week will be my show, and one that I will be taking off, the Atlantic Coast Pro Wrestling, with my roster that is far superior than that of the National Wrestling League. And the one thing I want to show you, I wanted to tease this, because I, in fact, have a book. That's right, ACPW. You can't see it because it's backwards because I'm showing it on this, but I have, in fact, my notes, who's going to be booked, who's not. You don't get to see anything because, of course, it's the book, and only the booker sees the book. But now you know it exists. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I actually had kind of a tough time. I've been having a tough time, in fact, doing this. And the reason why I've been having a tough time is that I'm trying to make everything make sense. And that's easier said than done when you're trying to book finishes as well. Because, like, not only am I trying to book the show, naturally, I'm trying to book the show and who wins and who loses, but I'm also trying to justify why those people are doing what they're doing, how they're doing what they're doing, and how does it lead to something that makes sense if this is supposed to be an athletic competition? What constitutes all of these people having a vested interest in the World Championship and the tag titles and all that? It's not as easy as it looks, folks. I actually, in the time that I've been booking this, have really had to kind of humble myself and give credit to bookers for actually doing booking. I'm not TV writers, but bookers. But speaking of bookers, we got everybody's favorite American Dream Dusty Rhodes today going up against Gino Hernandez. This is Houston wrestling sometime in the 70s. I'm watching this. If you don't have the link to this, you can find it on the most recent Court Martial podcast, episode 20, which has the thumbnail is Cody Rhodes, which was our second week of the draft. And now let's just jump right into this, I think. I actually did want to speak real quick. First on the format of this coming week, because this coming week, not only are we going to hear the explanation of the National Wrestling League show and how we put it together, but we're also going to have a superstar spotlight. I'm not going to tell you who that is yet. And we are going to talk about certain transgressions that WWE has enacted recently, mostly speaking of Backlash. For those of you who saw the live stream, the Backlash live stream, it only lasted an hour, and I started in the middle and ended in the middle because they did something that was just so egregious, and we're going to talk about it later because Skylar has already seen it, and I promised Sky that I was going to settle this time and make sure that he got his chance to rage in the way that I wanted to rage and that you saw me rage in the middle of the moment. That caused me to shut it off and prematurely cancel the live stream before we got to see the greatest match of all time throughout perpetuity in the universe, and a lot of air quotes to emphasize the point that it was not really the greatest match of all time in perpetuity throughout the universe. You know? So we're going to see how that goes. I haven't watched that. By the way, I have not watched that show. Not the match. I have not seen the match yet. So let me know how it goes. I figured I needed to cleanse my palate after the abomination that was the tag title match, in which now we have a 4-person team called the Viking Prophets, and there was turkey legs and LSD flashbacks, and I don't even know anymore with WWE. But before I give myself an aneurysm, let's watch the American Dream Dusty Rhodes against Gino Hernandez, although it just occurred to me that I did not set up the audio for this yet. So let's talk for a second about these cinematic matches, because I got to tell you, I'm really getting sick of these cinematic matches. And I said this on the live stream. I completely There we go. And I completely take back my statement that I wanted to see more cinematic matches. I said that at WrestleMania 36 time. Boy, do I no. I was so wrong, and I admit that I was so wrong, and I truly am sorry to anyone who's a wrestling fan who I might have alienated by saying I wanted to see more cinematic matches. I was wrong. This is not what I wanted. Instead, this has been a steaming pile of dog shite, and I will not stand for it anymore, which is why we're booking our own shows here at the Core Martial Podcast. So without further ado, let's cleanse our palate with actual wrestling. This is for the NWA World's title. Dusty Rhodes, an all-time classic wrestler. I've loved watching Dusty wrestle. And Gino Hernandez, who's a guy who I've never seen wrestle before, which is kind of what makes this intriguing to me. Gino, if you don't know about Gino, the first thing I would tell you to do is finish watching this live stream and finish hearing me talk about all of these great things that I see here. And then go look at the Dark Side of the Ring episode with Gino Hernandez, because it's really an interesting piece. I had never known anything about him before up to this point. So this is going to be brand new for me to see how he wrestled. But they said he had a lot of potential. They said he was going to be a great wrestler. He was already great. He was only going to get better. And I think he was only like 28 when he died, which is insane. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what goes on. But the only way we're going to do that is if we watch this. Thank you to the NWA for posting this video onto YouTube. And I'm going to follow this as best we can. The link is in the description if you want to watch it. Without further ado, let's get this going. We're going to start at 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Subscribe to the NWA. Oh, promo.
My mama lived there every chance I get. I be coming home.
There's nothing like your mama.
I'm gonna take it down for you in the 26th. I'm gonna bring it to you. Houston, Texas, Dusty Rhodes, Willie Nelson. It's all
Willie Nelson.
I'm a son from Austin who just went on and did it his way. So whoever I step in there with, you got to understand this right there. My mama will be watching all the time what her boy does.
Hell yeah. Okay, at this point, Mom.
Dream, thunder in both fists headed your way with knuckle sandwiches.
Hell yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. Gino, naturally the heel. You can tell that within the first 2 seconds. Within the first 2 seconds. Oh, who else is with him? Now, I wonder if there is any commentary on this, because if there's not, then I might just take my, well, somebody's announcing stuff. I don't know who this is. I wish I knew who this was. Somebody's cutting a promo mid-ring. Dusty's clearly babyface. And Gino is outside. He's talking smack. What did he say to him? Oh, well, something to inflame Gino. Old thumb to the eyes.
Telling it to each other as they have been doing all night long. And as things uncork here, Gino finds himself in the ring, and Dusty Rhodes takes after him.
Is this for the heavyweight title?
Starting off.
Oh, it might not be. It might just be a regular match. Might just be a match.
Dusty knows what to do when he gets one.
Nope, this is just a match. This was not for the title. I was mistaken.
The bell sounds.
Now the match has started.
No use giving them instructions. They wouldn't follow him anyway.
No use giving him instructions. They wouldn't follow him anyway.
And Gino Hernandez.
Wow, what a sell by Gino. Just right into the ring post, and what a stagger. God, Dusty's so Dusty looks so young here. And then Gino, who's also incredibly young.
And Dusty Rhodes, as you can see, takes a reverse chin lock, gets his knee up into the...
It's a reverse chin lock, but Dusty's like grabbing his thumb. He's like doing this in his chin lock. I don't know how much of a chin lock that actually is. I don't mean to take away from Dusty because he's got huge biceps. There we go. And then he kind of wrapped it in. Now he's interlacing. There we go. There we go.
Right now, as that thing's made tough for him by...
I want to know who that first person was who was talking smack to Gino.
Being called a quitter by...
Now he's going up to the ropes, backing off. Commentary is definitely adding to the story, but isn't calling moves, which is fine. Hasn't been many moves to speak of, honestly, at this point. Dusty trying to egg him on. Hitting the P, trying just that motion. That's it. All he did is this, and he just got huge crowd reaction. He's still doing it. The amount that Dusty's able to get out of this motion. Genius. Genius.
And Gino moves in there to...
Oh, punch. More punches.
Some of the toughness that is always apparent.
Punches and elbows into the corner.
No matter what.
And Dusty with that fire back.
He has absorbed a lot of punishment and always comes back to fight.
Oh, what a bump. What a bump. People going nuts for Dusty.
Don't like him. Gino pacing around there, looking for the opportunity to move back in that ring.
Gino's definitely got that sluggable face. But it's been all Dusty here in the early going. This is a 20-minute match, give or take.
Colorful Dusty Rhodes. You can call that an awful lot of things. He's got more nicknames than...
Oh, thumb to the eye. Thumb to the eye. Referee's got to take it. Oh, and now a very overt thumb to the eye. Referee should say something about it, but instead, and the third thumb to the eye, just raking the face.
Gino sees an opportunity and goes after it.
Well, those stumps certainly look. The stumps could have been sharper, maybe, from Gino, if I were to critique. But I mean, it's still Dusty just coming back up and just a little bit of body language just to get people into it. Kicks the leg. Oh, that's a funny sell. He kicked like the thigh, and Gino did a boogie board across the top rope, and now he's going to get a nice big kick to the gut. We've seen other versions of that in recent years.
That was a belly kick, and he drove it home.
And Dusty knows he's got Gino begging for mercy. But just wait, it's still early. We're going to see some good heat. Nice elbow. See? Even guy said it right there. I'm not sure who the commentator is on this.
Hernandez up one side to the other and following him with it.
Oh, what a snapper. Rake across the face.
Took some skin off his nose.
Ouch. Ouch.
Right down the slope.
By the way, y'all should listen to Retreat out on Spotify and multiple outlets.
Dusty Rhodes takes
White Knucks and A Bizzle. Retreat. Should do it.
The big dust.
Do it. Now dealt with just a toe lock. Dusty Rhodes hitting a toe lock. Just wrenching in that toe.
He's got one leg held solidly, and he's able to push on the leg and twist on the foot and come up with total effect. 5 minutes have gone by. Gino Hernandez.
I don't know what the time limit was. I wonder if this is going to end up being a time limit draw.
5 minutes. It seems like they've been battering each other for a lot longer than that.
Does it though? It kind of seems like it's been pretty early. I'm surprised that that's 5 minutes already. No, I guess it was though. Oh, what an elbow! I can say that about a lot of Dusty's elbows. It's wrenching the leg.
He's got an inside toe hold. He uses his weight as a bar.
Just slamming, just wrenching down on that leg. Oh, nice now getting a leg scissors to trap the leg and another thumb to the eye. Gino can't really take Dusty down without being dirty. All he's really done is rake the face of Dusty Rhodes. But Dusty, and now Dusty knows how to turn that around. What a bite to the face. Just biting him down at Gino. And oh, double knees. No, Gino going to the top here. We're gonna see a moonsault? I don't know what that was. That was Gino doing a very awkward. What is this? A best of 3? This must be a best of 3. I didn't know that because Gino just pinned Dusty.
We'll have more action for you right after we have this word from the studio.
Oh, wow! So after a very awkward, oh yeah, now they're going back into it.
There's the bell.
So I wonder if this is a best of 3 falls.
Like Gino Hernandez starts to walk away. And
another good set to watch if you're watching old school matches. God, Gino does a lot of things well. Coming off the top or jumping off things is not one of them. It just looks bad. He looks lanky and he just looks awkward. The first time he came off the top, I think he was hitting an elbow, but he did this weird wind up with the fist and his legs just splayed out. It wasn't a good look. Vicious right hand. Let's see, there was that off the top, and then he did another thing off the apron that looked super awkward too.
Face lock. He keeps him bottled up in it. Dusty starts to marshal his muscles, get him all the work together.
Dusty trying to rally back. Nice headlock here.
Moving those arms, and you can almost see the body get taped, starting at the.
Now just using those biceps to just squeeze just add the pressure to Dusty's head, and Dusty's fading. And well, Dusty's still coming around. You see the leg. Now you can hear the crowd rallying. You can hear the crowd rallying with all it took was a leg. And that's I love the subtlety of that body language. And now, of course, in this rest hold, Dusty's telling Gino exactly what's going to happen here. Now Gino, he's still floating. And if this is best of 3, Dusty only has one more. He only has 1 fall. Wow, they're really capitalizing on how strong Gino looks. And now another big. You know what I've noticed about these old school matches is you never see the crowd freak out until they start running in when the madness is mad. But you can hear the crowd somewhat when they get that rally back in, and when Dusty's really starting to power out here, hitting that power out. Now Gino, oh man, they're selling Gino's arm strength. Dusty's making Gino look tremendous. So Dusty went and he did the pull apart, where he's trying to rally back, and then he lost control and it started coming back in, and Gino just clamped right back down on it. Oh, that was beautiful. Making Gino look like a beast right now is Dusty Rhodes. Now this is the 5th time in the same headlock or versions of this headlock, this bicep squeeze, that Dusty has had his hand checked for 3 times. And now Dusty's trying to get the fans into it. Oh, here they go. Now you can hear them.
Well, I might say he's rising to the occasion, but I just won't say it.
You just did say it. If you didn't hear him, he said, it looks like he's rising to the occasion, but I just won't say it. But he did say it. And again, wow. Dusty. Dusty, I gotta give you mad props. He is truly making Gino look like a beast. Sixth time they've raised his hand like he was going to fade out and he was dying. Just in those biceps. But Dusty's going to will himself back up.
Encouraging his fans to scream, so they'll encourage him.
See?
And his fans are legion wherever he goes. One of the best known men in the wrestling world.
Went for an elbow and missed, and right back to the headlock. Gino, quick on the chops. Brilliant comeback. Saw Dusty break out, went for an elbow drop, saw he missed, and the second he missed, boom, right back onto it.
He knows that the effect is cumulative. You get one good.
I'll tell you what, Gino had some wrestling smarts. You know, he may not have looked spectacular when it came to the top rope stuff, but he had some wrestling smarts.
In combination with the effort on the
God, what a weak count, by the way. He's like 1, 2. He's like my friend. He's like my friend Simon. Anytime he always wanted to like pantomime like a chopper, so he'd be like, he'd just do this like. The referee's count was very similar to that.
Gorgeous Gino Hernandez. Dusty Rhodes is a fall behind.
Dusty Rhodes. And yeah, so far, you know, once Gino got that heat and got that top rope elbow, it really has been all Gino from that point on. Dusty's still trying to power. And to think at this moment, Gino is probably high as shit on cocaine.
The elbow. He takes command.
It could have been early in his career though. And now another side headlock. Amazing how captivating a side headlock can be. Back before all the moves had no meaning. This is fascinating. I just love watching me some old school wrestling. It's slow, it's methodical, but goddamn, it's good. It is good. And Dusty again trying to power out. This time, matching each other.
The best part of that is that it gives the blood a full chance to run back to his head and to refresh him.
He's standing up. Oh, and it looked like Dusty almost went for an arm drag, but Gino caught back with a chin lock, or a headlock. Awkward positioning though, but Dusty again, his selling is genius. Because it's just giving more credibility to Gino.
Now, Dusty on that canvas with his feet spread apart, looking for the opportunity to rise up again. Gino must be enjoying his advantage, and advantage it is.
There's the arm drag. And I got a huge pop, and Gino popped right back up and hit it again. Hit another. Oh, now he's going to keep breaking out of it. 2 snapmares. Is Dusty trying to stop Gino from hitting the headlock. And Gino is feisty. Gino got back up after 3 snapmares and kept hitting the headlock, and he kept being tossed. And then he just kept going back to the headlock. It's the fire in Gino Hernandez cannot be denied. Kind of makes it a shame that he didn't last around longer, because I think that if this was in the 70s, he would have been absolutely unstoppable in the mid to late 80s. He would have been huge. Gino would have been in leagues alongside, I think if he'd wanted to, he could have been in the leagues alongside Ric Flair and the Midnight Express and in the 80s. And then he also would have left when Jim Herd took over and ruined everything in WCW before Eric Bischoff took a hold of it. Just remember, everybody, it was Jim Herd who killed WCW. Yeah, not Eric Bischoff or Vince Russo. They didn't kill WCW. Jim Herd killed WCW. Eric Bischoff tried to revitalize WCW and did a pretty good job of it. But, you know, you have to imagine if if Jim Herd hadn't dismantled the ratings in such quick and fast. Oh, top rope is not going to be good for Gino. Jim Herd is going for another. Oh, he was going for a back elbow. And now Dusty, big elbow. That's the second fall right there. Guaranteed. Yep.
Dusty Rhodes comes up with the equalizing fall.
Yep. It was more headlocks. Dusty broke out. Then Gino got the better of it, went to the top rope to hit a back elbow, missed the back elbow. Dusty hits his bionic elbow. That's the second fall. So this was a best of 3 falls. Oh, Gino's hurt. Gino's hurt. Or he looks hurt. His selling's good.
Between falls has not expired,
but Dusty's trying to get right back into it.
The bell to ring. He wants to resume his battle with
Dusty wants to keep going.
Gino is smart enough to stay down. He knows if he gets up, he's liable to be knocked down.
But you have to imagine if Jim Herd hadn't dismantled the entirety of the talent that was there, didn't add the dumb ideas, didn't just...
All American Dream.
You have to imagine that if he had actually had a head on his shoulders or somebody who had really known what to do had taken Jim Herd's place, that we wouldn't have been in the predicament where Eric Bischoff needed to save WCW. And that's coming from a guy wearing the NWO shirt. And I love the NWO, obviously. But
has been having trouble with his chest. That's where Dusty went through the
and Gino's still down from that bionic elbow. Great selling of that. Selling that it's a worthwhile finisher. I mean, Dusty is a 300-some-odd dude. A big elbow going straight into your heart probably hurts.
Countdown.
Oh, now we're going in between. See how fast this fall lasts. Yeah, this is going to be a quick fall. We'll see what happens. Gino's really hurt. He's trying to, like, do you see that? He's trying to go for a handshake. He's like, oh, please, please. We're friends. But Dusty not having any of it. Another elbow to the back of the head. Oh, got the leg. Uh-oh, what's Dusty doing? Dusty going to go for a figure 4? Oh, and another rake to the eyes. Gino smartly raked the eyes. This referee has no balls. I guess that hasn't changed anything. Oh, and now Dusty going for some spots. Ooh. And now going for the roll-up sunset flip. Nope. Enough, and now Gino and Dusty brawling on the outside, and this could end in a double count out. Gino trying to just knocking Dusty outside. Actually getting hot and heavy here. Who the hell is that guy? Mark Lewin? I've never heard of this dude. But apparently, another double team Gino. And it's a double count out. It's a double count out. As weird, isn't that weird? I figured that this was going to go to a double count out. So this Mark Lewin, who's on Dusty's side, goes to hit Gino, but I feel like that was kind of a heel thing to do. But maybe because Gino was trying to get back in and get a count out, he was like, "No, you're not. You're not coming in either." So a double count out. So there is no winner. And maybe that was the point, was to get a...
Gino Hernandez calling Mark Lewin a quitter.
Now calling Mark Lewin a quitter is Gino Hernandez, being kind of a dick, which is what you do when you're a heel. I was coming back. We're not going to get more of this confrontation, I'm guessing. We're going to fade out here pretty shortly because we only got 30 seconds left on the video. And now Mark trying to go after him, and Gino Gino just getting out of dodge. I think probably the reason that this ended up being a draw is that Dusty was doing other stuff with the NWA and Gino was staying in Houston. At least I would imagine Gino was going to be staying in Houston and World Class, and he was going to be working more with them. So Dusty naturally had a little bit more to lose if he had actually taken the fall. But at the same time, you also don't want to get rid of what Dusty, what Gino was doing, because obviously Gino was made to look like a total star here, who went toe to toe with Dusty and held his own, and he really did. I mean, that was a really, really fun match. I mean, with the headlock and Dusty were trying to break out of it, and Gino, I mean, Dusty made Gino look like $1 million to where he didn't need to fall to make his draft stuff look bigger. And the fact that it even took another guy in Mark Lewin, who I really don't know, and I'll have to look him up. It took Mark Lewin actually keeping Gino out of the ring in order to keep the double count out so that Dusty didn't lose definitively. Goes to show that Gino was a force to be reckoned with, and that Dusty recognized that. And I gotta say, there's a lot to this. There's a lot of complexities just in very small, subtle movements, and in dialogue and very small back and forth. And this is what I love about old school wrestling, is that it's so subtle. You can tell there's certain little body language, just teeny bits of motion that you detect, and you can see and you can sense what they're trying to do and the point they're trying to get across. And it makes me love this all the more. Great match of the week. I had so much fun watching this. This is what I've come to like. I knew I was going to enjoy this match, and I very much did. Dusty Rhodes, Gino Hernandez. You can find it on NWA's YouTube page. I thought it was a great match. For those of you who are more move-centric or a more modern audience, you're probably going to find it to be pretty boring. Admittedly, y'all are probably going to find it to be pretty boring. But if you're in for the old school, I'm going to tell you this was a fun match. The desired outcome, which probably had to be a draw for the piece of business that it was going to do. And, this is also in the 70s, so Dusty's also competing against Backlund and New Japan as a heel, probably a couple years earlier than this. But Dusty's one of the hottest baby faces there is. They haven't even really gotten into the NWA stuff, the real thick NWA stuff of the 80s when it comes to the stuff they did with Mid-South and World Class, and Houston was still doing its thing. And, Dusty went everywhere. He was a traveling guy. So obviously him coming and giving Gino the rub like this only helped Gino and only helped Houston. Obviously this helped Houston draw. And then when Gino finally did go to World Class, this is definitely his draft stock was already good enough from working matches like this and getting rubs from people like Dusty Rhodes that was only going to help World Class business, which I'm sure it did. And I would have to study a little bit more on the impact of a match like this. But that's it. That's all we got for today. What a great match of the week. I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you Friday for our next Court Martial podcast. Until then, thank you very much. We'll see you next time. And now I'm going to click on do you want to exit your stream? Well, yes, I want to exit my stream, which is why I did the ending signature. So once again, see you later. I'm just going to end up. Nope.